social vices, drug abuse stands out as highly self-destructive with devastating societal consequences. And this is where we go tonight on Weekend File. So good evening and welcome to the place to be on a Saturday evening. Nigeria today is witnessing an upsurge of issues that are of global dimension. For example, drug abuse. The problem has heralded an unending desire to sensitize Nigerians on the evils of drug use and abuse. This abuse of mood-altering substances has been reported to be prevalent among Nigerians within the age bracket of 18 and 40 years, a critical stage in human development. Records show that the number of youths incarcerated in various prisons across the country has increased dramatically over the last few decades due to drug-induced offenses. Observers say the trend changed considerably in the past 2 decades to include the abuse of non-conventional drugs such as volatile solvents or inhalants like gasoline, correction fluid, rubber solution, nail polish removal, nitrate and others. These solvents produce psychoactive vapor, which when inhaled can produce intoxication and diverse consequences. Tonight on Weekend File, we will examine the problem of incessant drugs trafficking and an exponential growth in their consumption. Key issues here are the proliferation and use of these substances among Nigerian youths, described by experts as a continually changing phenomenon. My name is Kirian Umar, and this is Weekend File on the network service of the NTA. We thank you for deciding to invest your time with us tonight on the show. And as usual, on this program, the news comes first. And now to the news of the day. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says Nigerians will see and experience the positive impact of the recovery from economic recession in the coming year, as the federal government emphasizes that its focus would be on job creation through scaling up of social intervention programs to include artisans. He also said government would embark on massive construction efforts with regards to homes and revitalization of the manufacturing sector. The Vice President reaffirms this position of government at the graduation ceremony of Course 39 Senior Executive Course at the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies in Kuru, Jos. State House correspondent Jida Onifade reports.
General Gowon spoke on unity in diversity, responding to the current challenges of nation building. He explained that the process of molding multicultural societies into a nation is not a burden, but rather an asset that countries should exploit to produce greatness. He stressed the need for Nigerians to embrace their differences in the transformation process of the country so that it will strengthen their bond and shape the course of governance in the polity.
Both extreme lies the challenge of continuing process of social and political reconstruction, or restructuring to create an integrated national community.
Well, we're indeed sorry for that mix-up. And now to the next story. The Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Chief Audu Obe, has appealed to Nigerian Customs Service to put more efforts in the fight against smugglers, especially rice and fish products. This, the minister says, is imperative since smuggling of rice remains a threat to government policy of self-sufficiency by the year 2018. Musa Babaliu has that report.
Nigeria is set to end rice importation next year as local production is expected to hit over 7 million tons. The government has since banned the importation of rice through the land border, but the activities of smugglers have become a major concern to the federal government as foreign rice continued to come into the country illegally. The meeting between the Minister of Agriculture, Audu Obe, and the Controller General of Customs, Hamid Ali, is to discuss the negative effects of smuggling to national food policy.
No country ever became strong by being totally import dependent. We made that mistake because we were earning money from oil And so it became unfashionable to try and even grow anything.
Our own contribution is to ensure that we reduce to the barest minimum the importation of rice.
Meanwhile, federal government has promised to support local farmers across the country with rice milling equipment such as distoners and threshers. Adu Ogbe made this known while interacting with the chairman NEPAD Business Group Nigeria, Niki Akande. He noted that with the support, it will further assist the farmers to reduce the cost of production, and consequently, the local price of rice will drop tremendously. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
The Hungarian government has pledged a €1 million commitment to rebuilding the northeast of Nigeria. A government delegation made the pledge after inspecting facilities at the Wasa IDP camps on the outskirts of Abuja. Victor Azu reports.
The Hamatan is beginning to show up, as our journey to Wasa in the Abuja Municipal Area Council AMAC would have us believe. Being situated under AMAC is a bit flattering. Wasa is actually out of town. The road to Wasa has, however, become a regular trail since 2014 because of the presence of internally displaced persons, IDPs, fleeing the troubled northeast, over 5,000 of them at the moment. Wasa community is about 35 kilometers from the city center, but appears a bit longer because of the state of the access road. The road to Wasa is long, dusty, bumpy, and consequently winding. We were therefore surprised to meet the camp's bubbly, but however noticed the gift items brought by the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and IDPs, NCFRMI, to alleviate their plight. And of course, being far away from the insecurity in the northeast is something to cheer. That's not all. A delegation from Hungary is also visiting in solidarity and to determine possible areas of assistance. After inspecting the camps, head of the Hungarian delegation, Tristan Asbej, said the Hungarian government is itching to help.
We have announced and signed the declaration today for a €1 million reconstruction project in the Maiduguri area, where from the Hungarian donation there will be 3 schools and 1 hospital rebuilt.
You know, the administrative and legal processes that need to be met before. So it depends on us. As soon as we can meet the conditions, they'll be here.
Now, the donation of these items has lifted spirits at the Wasa IDP's camp, but their condition deserves much more. Destination point is a total reintegration into society. From the Wasa IDP's camp, Victor Azu, NTA News.
Mediation, negotiation, and reconciliation are mechanisms adopted in the past to settle conflicts for peaceful coexistence, where herdsmen have successfully lived with host communities without litigation. With the recent face-off between herdsmen and host communities, particularly farmers in Nigeria, Niger State inclusive, the traditional institution has been of great assistance to the Office of Nomadic Affairs, which is crisis crossing the state to peaceful coexistence. Rosia reports.
Farmers and herdsmen in Niger State had lived peacefully and happily together using same resources for socio-economic growth until the recent clashes owing to the scarcity of the resources, land and water required for survival. To stem the tide of conflicts, the Office of the Director General, Nomadic Affairs, which has succeeded in bringing all Fulani socio-cultural associations under one umbrella, the Fulani Consultative Forum, has adopted mediation, negotiation and reconciliation as mechanisms towards achieving the desired peace. In what appears like town hall or village square meetings, the traditional institution in all affected communities made itself available for settlement among farmers and herdsmen, as well as among their youth who had been ready tools for disaster.
We are here for them. We have the ward heads, we have the village heads, and I believe the issue will be settled amicably.
If there's any problem or crisis, they report to us immediately. And we always try our best to solve the problem between them, and we continue to ensure peace to reign in our domain, in our local government at large.
The way out is we are trying by all means to make sure we coordinate meetings with both parties, that is the Fulanis and the Gwadis, so that we'll see a way forward.
Where litigation was an option that failed in the Kuchi community, particularly, the issue was again tabled before traditional rulers who weathered in amicably, and today peace reigns among contending parties.
They are giving us maximum.
Oh, sorry for the abrupt end of that report. 25th of November every year is celebrated as International Day to End Violence Against Women and Girls, to raise awareness and mobilize people to bring about desired change. Basitaiba reports that this year's celebration had little twist, as people say there should be an outright cry to stop violence against men alongside women and girls.
Violence against women and girls is said to be one of the devastating human rights violations in the world. Records shows that 19% of women between age of 15 to 49 experience physical, emotional, or sexual violence from intimate partners. The International Day is aimed at creating awareness and advocacy on putting an end to the menace.
We condemn child abuse, we condemn violence against the girl's child. And that's why if a child is properly educated and well-groomed, she will know her rights. Nobody will be able to bastardize her.
There are lots of factors that contribute to the heightened rate of violence against women and girls. There might have been a time that he may have raised his hands and, he will remember or recall himself, and then he will drop it. These are the signs. And then he will shout at you. These are the signs. He gets easily irritated. These are the signs. He doesn't, when he's not responsible, these are the signs.
The 2017 theme is End Violence Against Women and Girls, Leave No One Behind, with a color of orange to reinforce commitment to the world free from violence for all women and girls.
And mothers should learn to drag their children closer to themselves so that we can reduce these cases of violence, molestation, and what have you.
NTA International joined in the campaign to end violence against women and girls, led by the General Manager, Abdurrahman Ibn Muhammad.
Their wives, daughters. In fact, I'd like to moderate my own slogan for the campaign, is end violence in all its ramifications.
Leave no one behind. The orange color United Nations says symbolizes a brighter future and a violence-free world. In Abuja, Basitaiba, NTA News.
Thank you there, Basit. Universities in the country have been charged to be in the forefront in the support of programs aimed at national development. President Muhammadu Buhari, who was represented by the Deputy Secretary, National Universities Commission, gave the charge while speaking to the 43rd convocation and the 47th Founders Day ceremonies of the University of Benin. Steve Lonai Mwokolo completes the report.
President Muhammadu Buhari, who enjoined the graduates to use the knowledge acquired to contribute to the development of the country, stated that the federal government is poised to reposition the education sector.
Knowledge-driven 21st century, education is clearly a key driver of socio-economic development, as no sustainable development can take place in the absence of quality education.
The Chancellor of the university tasked the graduates to commit themselves to the lives of diligence and shown arts capable of bringing the ivory tower to disrepute.
I urge you to continue to show understanding and reasoning with the management by offering appropriate solutions to seemingly difficult situations.
I am proud to report that this council has since its inception taken bold steps towards entrenching the culture of accountability, good governance, and high sense of probity at all levels.
Ugly incidents of courtesy and other associated vices have been reduced to the barest minimum, with the increased level of security surveillance made possible through the procurement of some patrol vehicles.
Former Vice Chancellor of the University of Benin, Professor Grace Alele Williams, and Chief George Agbonlahon were conferred with honorary Doctors of Science degrees, while Professor Louis Ojogu was also conferred with Professor Emeritus for their immense contributions to the development of education in the country.
The occasion was fantastic. I'm happy.
It's a day that I look forward to, and today I'm here, alive and well, celebrating this beautiful day.
A total number of 9,715 graduated with various degree certificates from the 11 faculties They make up the University of Benin. From the University campus here in Benin, Steve Lona in Waokolo, NTA News.
The Kwara State Governor, Abdul Fattah Ahmed, has presented a budget proposal of over 181 billion naira for 2018 fiscal year to the State House of Assembly. Abdul Hafiz Alaya reports that the governor stated his commitment to building a vibrant economy that will support inclusive growth and, of course, development.
The budget of sustained growth and prosperity. More than 58% of the estimate is for capital expenditure, while economic affairs receives the largest proportion of about 54 billion naira. The governor, Alhaji Abdul Fattah Ahmed, said that 2018 appropriation will consolidate on the gains of the past years with a focus on an improved internally generated revenue and development of infrastructures across all sectors.
Attention will be paid to the implementation of policies and programs that will ensure prosperity for the people of Kwara State, stimulating the socio-economic environment, boosting the informal sector, and expanding job creation.
The Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Dr. Ali Ahmed, commended the cordial working relationship between the executive and the parliament and expressed confidence that the appropriation bill will be ready for governor's assent soon. In Ilorin, Abdelafiz Alaya, NTA News.
Now, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, has so far completed, commissioned, and delivered 500-kilometer gas pipelines between 2010 to date as part of an aggressive expansion of gas pipeline infrastructure across the country. The NNPC Group Managing Director, Dr. Meikanti Baru, said this in Abuja at the 2017 conference and annual general meeting of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Dr. Baru added that with NNPC driving the realization of the federal government's aspiration to expand the gas pipeline network to all parts of the country, about 2,700 megawatts of thermal electricity was expected to be added to the national grid in the near future. He noted that all available thermal power plants in the country are connected with permanent gas supply pipelines.
This is aspiration of delivering gas to support the 15 gigawatt thermal power generation and help Nigeria realize its aspiration of being a regional hub for gas-based industries like petrochemicals, chemicals, methanol, fertilizer.
Other planned expansion of the gas infrastructure, such as the popular AKK 683 kilometer upon completion, is expected to add over 1,000 kilometers to the nation's gas pipeline network in 2018. Dr. Baru said the corporation was adopting the public-private partnership PPP models in building and expanding the gas infrastructure. Newly promoted senior officers of the Nigerian Air Force have been admonished to sustain the tempo of keeping the nation safe and free from all manner of divisive tendencies. Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar gave the charge at the decoration ceremony of the officers elevated to the ranks of Air Vice Marshals and Air Commodores. Defense correspondent Isaac Nkuma reports.
The newly promoted senior officers, numbering 50, comprise 22 Air Vice Marshals and 28 Air Commodores. Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar reiterates that their elevation is not premised on past performance alone, but also on the potential they possess for the future.
Posterity will judge you on how well you have used your new ranks to make our nation more secure. You must also at all times be guided by our social contract with the Nigerian people, which is to ensure that Nigeria is secure.
It is the first time in history that the Air Force will be promoting 22 Air Commodores to the enviable rank of Air Vice Marshals, among them the Director of Public Relations and Information.
This is the highest military rank that you can attain, and to have risen over the years, never missing a step, and being able to get to this point, there is no doubt that it's something that is fulfilling.
The occasion also witnessed the presentation of insignia to the widow of late Group Captain Adanu Gabriel Achai for a posthumous promotion to the rank of Air Commodore. As they say in the Air Force, more stars have been added to the sky. In Abuja, Isaac Nkuma, NTA News.
The Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Saad Abubakar, has stressed the need for Nigerians to be united in moving the nation forward, irrespective of political, cultural, and religious affiliations. The Sultan said this at Ayede Ekiti during his visit to the monarch of the town, Oba Abdul Muminu Orisabwemi. Ayodeji Ogunshaking reports.
The Sultan said Nigerians should exhibit spirit of tolerance, eschew violence, be their brother's keeper, and advocating interfaith relationship and prayers for the nation. Alhaji Abubakar, who commended the warm reception accorded him, enjoined them to make education a priority.
We have been struggling to make the Ummah in this country one united one. The Ummah in this country more developed and more forward-looking.
The host, Ata of Ayede Obamumin Orishagbemi, and the President General League of Imams and Nafas in the Southwest, Edo and Delta States, Alhaji Jamiu Keolere, are joined by other dignitaries to acknowledge the contributions of the Sultan to the national unity, peace and progress.
We should live with peace and unity, so God will protect us.
The Sultan inspected the ongoing projects at the palace. From Ayede Ekiti, Ayodeji Ogunshakin, NTA News.
Now, you are watching Weekend File in case you just tuned in, and our satellite beams on effects of drug abuse with its complex mixtures, experimentations, and new discoveries that have taken a new dimension. And we'll get more of that in greater details with our correspondence report coming from across the nation. Don't go away.
This is your playground. Get free 200,000 Naira preloaded on the new Jumbo SIM. Yes, 200,000 Naira. It's massive. Now every SIM is a Jumbo SIM. Get it, use it, flaunt it.
The largest data network, Glow, grandmasters of data.
This is the game I've been waiting for, and I get a headache. But I remembered Mom's advice. When headache strikes, I always trust Sudrex. Because Sudrex acts fast to relieve headaches. Sudrex, win your day.
Welcome to Zamfara, where opportunities meet commitment. The more than 6 years of Abdul Aziz Abubakar Yari, the people's governor, reflects new dawn, new opportunities, progress, new hope, and of course, the transformed Zamfara state. Education, health, roads, water supply, and road transformation. Name it. Abdul Aziz Yari leads for others to follow. His vision and mission tied around implementing the President Buhari's change mantra to Zamfara people. Carry on, the people's governor. Zamfara, the pride of the nation. This message is brought to you by Arewa Media Group.
Zuma Film Festival 2017 live in Abuja. Theme, Feast on Film. Festival bouquet include Zuma Light Up Night and Red Carpet, film screening and premieres, NFC Annual Film Lecture, Emerging Film Talent Workshop, Film Market and Equipment Exhibition, Film Location Expo, Special Tribute, Zuma Awards Night, and lots more.
Chief Host, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, Honorable Minister of Information and Culture, General Dr. Yakubu Gawon, Chairman of the NFC Annual Lecture, Dr. Chadia Madweke, MD, Nigerian Film Corporation, Chairman, Festival Organizing Committee.
Date from the 1st to the 3rd of December 2017. For further inquiry, visit www.zumafilmfest.com. Supported by...
Powered by the Nigerian Film Corporation.
Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us on Weekend File up to this moment. Now, drug abuse among youths in Nigeria has assumed a worrisome trend as it comes with numerous side effects. Investigations show that drug addiction can lead to health challenges like brain damage, madness, and risk of blood-borne diseases like HIV/AIDS. Hepatitis B and C can also lead to death in some cases. And in this background report, Ahmed Ambali looks deeper into what is responsible for this.
The fast-changing world we live in today, fast cars, a high-speed internet community, and a youth population hooked on anything that tickles their fancy. Physical borders have been broken down, and as for movement of people and goods, there is free, unhindered flow. In Nigeria, as with most countries, it is not only people and goods that flow freely. Illicit drugs and other harmful substances find their ways into and out of the nation's borders. It's an understatement to say abuse of drugs has become widespread. What was once a minor issue has become a full-blown epidemic, with statistics showing that more than 60% of Nigerian youths have either come across, used, or shared one form of drug or the other. In Kano, northwest Nigeria, the site of this 24-year-old dropout writhing in pains is a stark reality of the enormity of the drug abuse epidemic. He is but one of the 37% of Kano youths who have become addicted to non-conventional drugs. Drug abuse does not discriminate between the rich and the poor, old or young. Many have seen their future slip by with every sip or whiff, never to come back again.
I used to take weed, codeine, and retinol. That's all. Actually, I'm a graduate, but due to some certain drugs I used to abuse, I didn't even afford to finish my NYSC.
The menace is being tackled headlong by drug enforcement agencies, with stiff penalties and punishments meted out to those found culpable. Peer influence plays a great role in the involvement of many, with financial returns luring in traffickers and couriers. Addressing the scourge, experts believe requires a holistic approach, one which involves members of society at every strata joining hands to say no to drugs. In schools, children are being educated on the dangers of drug use. Mosques, churches, and other non-governmental organizations are also expected to help increase awareness. The stakes are high, and unless Nigeria wants to fail its future generation, something drastic needs to be done.
Taking the Ahmed Ambali with that report, which laid some emphasis on Kano, and Kano is where we go next. Now, the challenge of a confronting menace of illicit drugs in Kano is as daunting as every day. And, of course, the sale and consumption is on the increase in Kano. Ali Adamu in this report looks at the effects and the problems.
The commercial nature of Kano State makes it attractive to youth for trafficking and sale of illicit drugs as a ready market, thereby exposing the larger population to drug abuse. This is evident in the number of seizures the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency made early this year.
In 2016, last year, we have arrested over 47 tons. And from January to date, we have a little bit over 14 tons.
More alarming is the high rate of out-of-school children who are exposed to drugs and substance abuse by unsuspecting adults. Only recently, United Nations adjudged Kano as a leading state in Nigeria in the consumption and sale of illicit drugs. Despite efforts to control the menace by governments, the trend continued to no avail. What is even of utmost concern is the involvement of married women and their children.
It affects the family life as well, because huge amount of money will be spent continuously in order to reform or to cure the affected person.
It is not surprising that private rehabilitation homes are springing around the state and charging exorbitant prices for monetary gains. A psychiatric doctor at Kano Teaching Hospital says the effect of drug abuse could be physiological, as it is capable of destroying vital organs of the body, including the heart, lungs, and kidney.
People that use substances usually lack judgment. They lack the concept of knowing, of truly rationalizing what is good or bad. He can just decide to do what he wants. So the rate of crimes are usually higher in societies where substance use is predominant.
She added that apart from medical attention, the victims could be supported and rehabilitated through motivational therapy. In Kano, Aladam, NTA News.
Now, one of the attendant challenges associated with internal displacement is the prevalence of drug abuse and trafficking, especially among youths. Abubakar Mohammed Musa has a situation report on cases of illicit drugs intake in IDP camps in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital.
Borno State currently has 1.6 million IDPs spread across 28 designated camps. Statistics, however, made available to NTA Weekend File by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency Borno State Command indicates that the menace of drugs is on the increase in most IDP camps.
It's an issue that I think that the state should come in very strongly. Even the local government areas should come in very strongly. The leaders of thought in the community should come in very strongly. The religious leaders, political leaders, youth organizations should come in strongly.
In October 2017, 98 suspected drug abusers were apprehended during a raid by the command, while in November 2017, the law enforcement agency recorded a slight decrease as it arrested 72 suspected persons. Borno State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, on its part says it has adopted a multidimensional approach to stem the scourge in collaboration with other relevant stakeholders.
Drug addict is one of the issues in camps. Gangsterism, drug addicts, prostitution, all has to do with, leaving them idle in the camps. That's why the Borno State government, partnering with other developmental partners, is working tirelessly to ensure that we have constructed their local government and ask them to return voluntarily.
NTA Weekend File investigation reveals that trauma, depression and tension occasioned by the activities of insurgents are the major reasons behind the involvement of youths in camps in drugs. Other contributing factors are peer group influence, illiteracy and youth restiveness.
If given the wherewithal like adequate manpower, improved facilities as well as sustenance of support, the authorities concerned are optimistic that drug trafficking and consumption will either be reduced drastically or be eliminated completely.
For NTA Weekend File in Maiduguri, Abubakar Mohammed Musa.
Thank you, Abubakar. Notwithstanding the higher propensity to drug abuse among youths in Rivers State, relevant stakeholders are adopting strategies to dissuade youths from engaging in drug abuse. This is just as concerned stakeholders are advocating closer parental monitoring of their wards and the stoppage of direct sales of certain drugs to individuals without doctor's prescription. Kinsley Amajiri is our guide.
Investigation indicates that there is high tendency among youths in Rivers State to indulge in drug abuse.
I think Rivers State has a peculiar drug problem. I find that in all the places I've worked, that Rivers State has the highest propensity for drugs.
This has not only resulted in an increased number of psychological defects among young people, but also in social vices and increased criminality.
It calls for investigation because no matter we try to regulate them at home, if the source through which they get this is not regulated or checked, we'll still fall into the same problem.
The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency in Rivers State said it is aware of this ugly trend and therefore is embarking on street campaigns, youth enlightenment programs for students and creating drug-free clubs towards reaching the larger percentage of the youths.
We'll be to Awuda, we'll be to Lele, we'll be to different places, educating them on the effect of drug abuse. And there are some youth too, there are some schools that have opened drug-free club. those youth too help us to do the campaign awareness.
I've learned a lot coming here because before now in school I've been taught about drug abuse. We have been enlightened about drug abuse.
Peer pressure can also be a cause of drug abuse. So I'll try to avoid negative peer influences that can lead me to drug abuse.
Medical experts are equally concerned about the abuse of substance.
Some of the drugs they give to patients, these are some of the things that cause trouble for us, are specialist drugs that even a doctor don't prescribe. And if you even go to prescribe, after the doctor have seen the patient, looked at the lab results, it is his discretion to prescribe.
Analysts are of the view that the continual enlightenment program on the dangers of drugs be sustained, while relevant agencies intensify their efforts at making sure that prohibited drugs do not get into the hands of the youths. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amadri, NTA News.
Drug and substance abuse is gradually becoming a psychological problem facing the nation, as we've told you in the past. Now, more worrisome is the increasing number of teenagers and youths who are indulging in the act. From Lagos, Joy Ken Ababoya takes a look at the trend and its consequences on youths.
Investigations have revealed that in Lagos today, ingenuity has been introduced to drug abuse with complex mixtures, experiments and new discoveries. Codeine containing cough syrup mixed with soft drinks is gradually taking over alcohol in parties. Hard drugs like heroin, marijuana, volatile solvents and pharmaceutical opioids have become accessible and available to youths, mostly at nightclubs, motor parks, slum settlements and other youthful gatherings. More worrisome is that these drugs are gradually finding their way to institutions of learning. Increasing crime rate, communal crisis, truancy and delinquency among youths are major consequences of drug abuse.
Drug use and abuse and crime, both go hand in hand, because where these youths have access to drugs, it emboldens them. We now have young men, even teenagers, involving themselves in cult-related activities and cult-related violence. And in most of the raids we have been carrying out, we've always recovered from some of these groups narcotic substances, especially weeds suspected to be in their hand.
Several health challenges, including mental issues, have also been linked to drug abuse.
And when a female patient who has been a drug addict goes into pregnancy, they usually deliver malformed babies. So what we call the fetal alcohol syndrome is a very common thing that happens when people are involved in drug abuse.
Observers say efforts should be intensified by government, civil organizations, parents and other stakeholders to discourage the trend. In Lagos, Joy Ken Ababoya, NTA News.
Now we have a specialist on drug abuse in Nigeria waiting to give more insight into the menace in Nigeria. But before we meet him, let's take a short break.
From 1967 to 1970, Nigeria went through a horrifying civil war. It didn't matter who was wrong or right. Everybody suffered. Those who fought that war say it should never happen again.
So a lot of people will say, but you were leading the first one. Yes, I led the first one. I don't think a second one is necessary. We should have learned from that first one. Otherwise, the dead would have been to no avail, would all have been in vain.
The words of our elders are full of wisdom.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
Thank you so much for inspiring greatness in me, Alhaji.
Alhaji?
I am just rehearsing, dear.
Rehearsing for what?
A life-changing and inspiring meeting.
With who?
Alhaji Aliko Dangote.
With the FGNI app and just 500 Naira, you stand a chance to meet one-on-one with Alhaji Aliko Dangote, Africa's richest man. and win cash prizes. As the Be Inspired meetings gives Nigerians a chance to meet one-on-one with icons. To qualify for the draw, download FGNI app from Apple Store or Google Play Store. Go to the Be Inspired section and follow the instructions. Cost of travel and accommodation of all winners within Nigeria will be borne by the organizers. Terms and conditions apply. Proudly supported by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
And we thank you again for staying with us on Weekend File. And I have with me in the studio the Assistant Commander General Narcotics, of course, from the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Barrister Femi Oloruntoba. Barrister Oloruntoba is also the Director of Technical Services of that establishment. You're welcome to Weekend File.
Good evening.
Yes.
Good evening, Nigerians.
Yes. So from the reports we've shown on this program, we have some observations and records which indicated the fact that there are substances that we know, such as cocaine, heroin, plus, of course, prescription drugs, are abused, especially among the younger generation of Nigerians. What would you say is responsible?
Now, thank you very much. Drug abuse is dynamic. Now, before you were hearing cocaine, heroin, cannabis, what the abusers do is that they try to experiment, find new drugs, especially the ones that are not legislated upon, especially the ones that they don't get punished because the law is not yet in those areas. So you can see that people are experimenting, people are running away from punishment. They want to do the ones where even when you catch them, there might be no legislation to punish them. That is one thing. Of course, the youth, you know them, they are very adventurous. They want to, you heard of peer pressure. You also heard of people, schoolmates, luring them to do what they would not ordinarily do. And of course, we've discovered that a lot of youth these days, they are involved in hard labor. Look at the population of the Okada riders. They fall between 20, 30, and so they are looking for what that will keep them strong to do the work for the whole day. These are just some of the reasons why the youths are involved in drug.
So they believe it empowers them more, it gives them the energy. Not just that they believe,
it does empower.
Negative empowerment.
No, of course, negative empowerment. It gives them strength. If an Okada rider is on drug, you can see him riding from morning till 7 p.m. or even 9 p.m.
Well, all right. This dynamism that you actually mentioned, when we were starting your first statement, could take us to this particular question now. The issue of non-conventional drugs, which known as volatile solvents or inhalants. Yes. These are some of the drugs you can buy off the counter. But the abuse means that they are taking them without dosage.
Yes.
Now, is there anything DLA has done in the past to see whether they can check from that point of view?
Now, if you see the basis upon which I started my discussion, what we are saying here, these drugs, you call them non-conventional. They are not conventional. Some of them are not even listed. Some of them, they are just substances that were discovered to have psychoactive effect. Then some of them are what you call, they are what you call pharmaceutical opioids. Ordinarily, they are not illegal. Let's take tramadol, for example. You showed the destruction in Kano. Those drugs that were destroyed in Kano, 70% was tramadol. Tramadol is legitimate. Tramadol is a painkiller. But we're talking of taking it beyond prescription. Maybe ordinarily in the hospital environment, they will have prescribed take 2 capsules. But you see somebody taking 10, taking 9, taking 15. That is already beyond prescription, and so the effects are very dangerous. So, again, there are a lot of what we call plant-based psychoactive substances. Recently, we've been seizing what we call cat from Central Africa. Last year, we seized over 2 tons of cat. What is cat? Cat is just a plant that once you smoke it like Indian hemp, it gives you the same psychoactive effect. And like I did say earlier on, we keep on discovering new ones. In fact, the UNODC said that as at 2014, over 600, we call it new psychoactive substances have been discovered.
I know this is global. It's not just Nigeria. But does it really mean that the fight against drugs, the fight has failed globally speaking?
No, I won't say it has failed. What is happening is just that the drug barons, the drug traffickers who are doing it for business, they are very innovative. Once they see that the law is closing on them in one area, they try to move to the another. For example, in one conference that we just attended, we discovered that there is a particular synthetic opioid. They call it fentanyl in the United States. The record shows that in 2015 alone, close to 9,500 died of overdose of that drug. Ordinarily, it's a drug that is supposed to be used for painkilling. Yes. But when you take the overdose, and so that is what is also happening in the country.
What actually, said that it may have failed globally is that, across the globe, even celebrities, big men, as we know them in Nigeria, are also involved. But let me ask you this question, the staff of NDLEA. Which of the drugs would you think is more prevalent in Nigeria, apart from the non-conventional ones? So normally we have cocaine, heroin, and all of that. And then which one is more prevalent? Because
Cannabis. India hemp. Cannabis is grown in 6 states in Nigeria: Oyo, Osun, Ekiti, Delta, and Edo states, and the Ondo states, 6 states. And the quantity that is grown in this environment is so huge to serve the nation. So when they are grown in this environment, they are now transported
to other parts of the country,
especially to the north and to the northeast, where there has been insurgence. So today, if you ask me which drug is the drug problem in Nigeria, it's cannabis. Because that's what we grow nationally.
Nigerians oftentimes see you on TV burning seized bags of cannabis and what have you. What actually happens to those who own them?
Oh, a lot of them are prosecuted. A lot of them are prosecuted. We have an annual report, and we report on a yearly basis the number of people who prosecuted. If I can give you the figure for 2016, a total of 2,246 people were prosecuted to conviction. That is those who went to jail for drug matters in Nigeria. Now this year we are counting. We are over 1,000.
Okay, as a final question, on this program, now, what kind of collaboration, does NDLEA need? Maybe in terms of not just ordinary collaboration, but acquisition of facilities or infrastructure that will enable you to do your work much better.
Now, talking of infrastructure and facility, first of all, government should try and invest more in NDLEA in the area of manpower, in the area of infrastructure. We need scanners. We need sniffer dogs. We need vehicles. But talking of collaboration, we need everybody's collaboration. This your program is one way of reaching out and telling the people what exactly the drug problem in the country and how they can also participate. But above all, we need the cooperation of the parents. The parents are the first contact for children and youth. Now, you must be able to be vigilant. You must be able to know what your child is doing. You must be able to know who their friends are. And you must be able to keep watch on them. Do what I call unscheduled visit to your child's room. See what he's doing there. Know who is his friend. And these are some of the ways by which you can partner with NDLEA.
All right, thank you. At this point, thank you indeed for your insight on this topic. Barrister Femi Oloruntoba is the Director, Technical Services, Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agent. Thank you very much indeed for coming once again. Now, this is Weekend File. Don't go away. I'll be right back.
The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, is working to ensure access to safe, good quality essential medicines with the World Health Organization pre-qualification of made in Nigeria pharmaceutical products, stiffer penalties for fake drug offenders with a review of NAFDAC laws, national, regional, and international collaborations, cutting-edge technologies, including the mobile authentication service,
the production and distribution of counterfeit medicine and adulterated food products have negative impact on our health and economy as a whole. I urge all Nigerians to support NAFDAC in safeguarding our health. God bless Nigeria.
Let us support NAFDAC to win the war against fake drugs and other unwholesome regulated products. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, Sir Ahmadu Bello, Chief Obafemi Awolowo.
These patriots worked together to achieve independence for one united Nigeria. Although some may say Nigeria is a mistake, we all know that the Almighty never makes mistakes.
God has not made a mistake by bringing us all together in the way that He has brought us together. God has put us together here so that we can build a community that will be an example to the entire world.
One nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Nigeria, one nation, one people.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
And now back to the story of the Vice President at NIP's annual lecture. The Vice President, Emi Oshibajo, says Nigerians will see and experience the positive impact of the recovery from economic recession in the coming year, as the federal government emphasizes that its focus will be on job creation, scaling up the social intervention programs to include artisans. He also said government would embark on massive construction efforts with regards to homes and revitalization of the manufacturing sector. The Vice President reaffirms this position of government at the graduation ceremony of Course 39 Senior Executive Course at the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies in Kuru, Jos. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
It is not yet uhuru for the nation, despite the good signals from reports within and outside the country, with the nation's profile soaring in terms of integrity and the economy. There is still work to be done, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says, as he gives an in-depth report on what the federal government is doing to calm the tide of unfavorable situation the nation found itself before the inception of the Buhari administration.
That's why we continue to bask in the improvements in our ranking and the citation of Nigeria as one of the 10 best performing economies in the world. We realize that our task is far from being done, and we remain focused on the ERGP, that the objective of being in the top 100 countries in the ease of doing business by 2020. But most importantly for us, it is that until the average Nigerian is able to have food on his table and has a job and is satisfied with the life that he's living, we are far from declaring any kind of celebration.
The Vice President also speaks on the commitment to upholding core values.
Desire for change must translate into strengthening ethics, especially patriotism, integrity, and ethnic and religious tolerance. We must strive to build a fair, just, and equitable society that prefers investment to consumption, thrift over waste, and which celebrates integrity over corruption. These values are not only morally right, but they are also essential underpinnings for restoring growth, for investing in our people, and for building a globally competitive economy.
The 66 participants were presented with certificates of merit and urged to put the knowledge acquired to good use in the service of the nation.
Every year, Mr. President of the Federal Republic will approve a given theme of national importance for the course participants to research into and make appropriate recommendations based on their findings.
They were also inducted into the Alumni Association of the Institute, bringing the total number of graduates of the Institute to 1,920 since inception in 1979.
Having the privilege to be one of the thinkers who have been drawn from all walks of life and from all professions to come here and think for Nigeria, to research into the issues that confront us as a nation, is for me more gratifying.
Now, it is a good time for the participants of this course because now they can add MNI. And again, it is a good time for their country. In Kurujas, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
All right, now to sports. 49th Asojuoba Molade Okoya Thomas Cup Table Tennis Championship begins on Monday. Now let's join Ademola Omokivi for that and more.
The 49th Asojuoba Molade Okoya Thomas Cup Table Tennis Championship will see players compete in 3 categories for 22 titles from the 27th of November to December 1. Other categories will include the administrators singles, coaches singles, sports writers singles, as well as para table tennis that will be featuring for the 5th time.
It's a competition that the family has taken on the cost and will continue to do so. But of course, whatever way God puts it in Lagos State government to take it to another height will be open.
Hosts Nigeria, Ghana, Mali, Senegal, Niger and Seychelles vied for honors in the 3-day Taekwondo Classics in Lagos with about 300 practitioners. The organizers say this is an avenue to try the country's best against their counterparts from other countries ahead of the 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo.
Events allow you to know how good your athletes are, or allow you to understand the scope of work you have to do.
We are opening up these kind of opportunities for them to meet with, apart from the national players, international players of repute, so that they can up their standards.
As at the time of filing this report, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps led the medals table with 3 gold, 2 silver and a bronze, followed by Team Delature and Lagos State team. And in boxing, the 87th edition of the Boxing Hall of Fame had newcomers to the sport. This edition had the officials insisting on the right techniques to ensure the young boxers are on the right track.
The lesson is that as young amateur boxers, what matters is the art, is the skill, is the science and the technique, not so much your showboating.
While Isa Bolaji was declared the best boxer of the tournament. With sports update, Adeola Omokivi, NTA News.
The death has occurred of Alhaji Yunusa Olawale Sholebo, aged 92, a former director, Line Shipping Company, Lagos, and philanthropist. Alhaji Sholebo died on the 19th of this month, and the funeral prayer comes up tomorrow, Sunday, at his residence, number 8 Sholebo Street, Ikurudu, Lagos. He's survived by children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, among whom is Muslima Sholebo, Assistant Director News, NT Headquarters here in Abuja. Now, next is weather outlook for tomorrow. And that concludes our program for today. Thank you for being part of it, and let's do it again next Saturday. It's good night.